Making your own jewels, gems, crystals, and pendants is easy and economical using tap platinum silicone and tap clear light casting resin. Small parts like these can be made for pennies apiece, and your imagination is the only limit on the effects you can create. Here's how to do it. The first step is to make the mold. Gather some original pieces that you would like to duplicate. These can be purchased from a hobby store or made yourself. The key is that the surface finish will be exactly duplicated in the mold. A matte finish original will produce a matte finish mold, so your original must look exactly the way you want your cast part to look. Once you have your original pieces, arrange them about 1/4 inch apart to determine your mold size. You can then either build a mold box, as described in one of our other videos, or find something convenient that closely matches your desired size. Too big a container will waste mold material. Glue the pieces into the mold box using a glue gun. Use a very small amount of glue so that it does not squeeze out and affect the shape of the mold. You only need enough glue to hold down the part. Mix up some platinum silicone. See our video on platinum silicone for more details. Pour the silicone into the mold box and wait 2 hours and remove your new mold. Now you are ready to begin the casting process. As polyester resin cures, it generates heat, which is essential to a good cure. Very small parts, however, do not generate heat, so here are some tricks which will help the cure. First, heat the mold in the microwave. Heat it until it is warm, but not hot to the touch. Measure out your casting resin and catalyze with about 15 drops per ounce. This is far more than you would use for large castings. At this point, you can decide whether you want clear or colored castings. If you want a combination, separate your catalyzed resin into multiple containers. Add dye to each and then pour into the mold. You will notice as you fill the mold that the resin rises above the surface of the mold, forming a convex back to each part. If left like this, the back would have to be ground down and polished after the resin cures. Also, since it is exposed to the air, it will remain tacky and subject to fingerprints. One way to avoid this is to lay a piece of 5 ml thick mylar over the mold, being careful not to trap any bubbles. Here you can see a bubble has been trapped. Another option is to spray Resin Craft spray on the back of the pieces when the resin gels. This will reduce the tackiness. Patience is critical in this part of the casting process. The resin can appear hard and ready to remove from the mold, but if it is removed before it is fully cured, you will leave fingerprints on your part. Tap the back of the pieces. They should feel rock hard before removing the mylar. The curing time is dependent on the temperature of the resin and the mold and the volume of the casting. Once the resin has cured, peel the mylar off and remove your parts. As you can see here, you may need to trim the parts where the resin overflowed the mold. At this point, you can leave the parts as they are or decorate the back for interesting effects. Here are a few examples. Invent your own. Here we took some sparkle film, clear glue, and attached it to the back of the pieces. Here we are using mirrored mylar on the back. Try applying paint or even embedding objects in the resin before it cures. Metal powder can also be added to produce the look of solid metal castings. Experiment to discover amazing effects, because at Tap Plastics, your only limitation is your imagination.
Tap Plastics, the fantastic plastic place.